Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we've got another round of long-term reviews for you. These knives are going to be knives under $100. Just going to give a quick overall review of them, what I think of them, and let you guys know whether or not I would buy them again based off the price they're available for and just how much I like each one of them. Before I go any further into this, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now let's get into these reviews, and we're going to start off with some Kubey knives. We're going to start off with 3 knives, and going to review these ones as a whole, because these are the 3 Kubeys that I personally have gotten my hands on, and I'm just going to let you guys know what I think of all of them, and I got to say, all 3 of these, I don't have a lot of bad things to say. This was the first one I had. This was the Kubey KU203, coming in at $38.99. And this was kind of a gnarly little beast. I mean, it's thick. It's a bruiser. That's not rust. It was just crud on it. And it's just a fun little knife. The action is absolutely... Let me move these 2 aside because they're going to be difficult and throw off my stinking focusing. But watch this. Boom. It just flies right out. Very nice little edge, D2 steel, just a real chunker of a knife. This is absolutely a hard use knife. A little glass breaker / lanyard hole there at the bottom, which, you know, doesn't look bad. I can't say I love it, but I don't really have a problem with it. I don't really have anything against this knife. I really like the flipper tab and the jimping on here, and just overall, just a very, very nice little knife. For $38.99, I would absolutely buy this guy again, and I'd recommend him to anyone who likes the smaller knives. It's a fantastic piece. That's the Kubey KU203, coming in at $38.99. And moving on to the Kubey KB237, another one. Really cool Tonto blade, very nice deep carry clip that doesn't have a recessed screw, but I didn't have any real issues fitting that in my hem and having my hem come all the way up to the top of the clip here. So pretty good job done there. Nice and simple, not too much going on there. Really nice ergos on this knife. Very nice ergos. I always like to hold a knife in a choked up position, as I'm doing with this, and I like the little fuller there. I don't think it can really be used for flipping. At least not by me. Maybe someone else. If you can do it, congratulations. You're pretty awesome. You're better than me at it. The only thing I don't like about this knife, and it was really the same issue on the next Kubey you'll see, is their little free spinning pivot here with the KB on it. I don't like that. I wouldn't like it even if it wasn't free spinning, but I just don't like too much noise on the pivot screw of a knife. It takes away from the overall rest of the package that you have, which is really nice here. I like these handles. I like the way the lines and contouring is done on them. It feels very good in hand, and I really like this Tonto blade. Nice working blade, especially for a price of where'd it go? $38.99 again. $38.99, you just can't beat that. I got this one off Amazon as well as the other Kubey. Actually, all 3 of these Kubeys I got off Amazon. So there you go for that. But no, just very nice designs, and the action is just fantastic on these guys. These are, in my opinion, every bit as good as the Civivi, and actually a little less than most Civivis nowadays. So Kubey is definitely a brand. If you guys are not familiar with yet, get familiar with them. Go to their website. Just like the Kubey knives, Google it. It'll pop up there. Just very, very nice knives, very good quality, and very, very nice overall designs in general. I just really, really like them, and so I'm going to keep touting them. And these are a few that I think I'm going to keep in my collection. I'm working on refining my collection and narrowing it down to certain categories and certain things that I'll cover in another episode at some point down the road. But another very good one from Kubey, the KB237. Next up, the last Kubey on the list, we have the Kubey KB046. This was the most expensive one. This was coming in at $59.99, but for actually good reason. We have titanium handles, titanium clip, and AUS 10 steel. So pretty nice materials all in all, and a very nice, little more simple package, I guess you could say. There's not much flash going on. It's a very simple drop point blade, but again, it's got that Kubey action that's just on point. Pretty good centering of the blade. Actually, really good centering. I would consider that pretty much spot on. So very well done for that price point. Very nice sound, just a real good smooth action. And of course, it's a frame lock, and it's even got your over travel stop there. And I don't think it has... Oh, it does. It does. It even has a, wow, lock bar insert. There we go. I was really struggling to think of the name for that. Yeah, it's got your lock bar insert and an over travel stop. So again, for $59.99, they're doing a pretty good job of giving you some good bang for your buck there at Kubey. This pocket clip isn't the absolute best, but it still works. You just have to be a little mindful sometime when you're putting it in the pocket to get it over the hem and slide it on. But it's nice and sleek. It's low profile, zero hot spot. This knife almost feels like it doesn't have a pocket clip. Very, very nice package. Very well done design to keep ergos and hot spots in mind. Some nice jimping up there. And a nice size blade. This is coming in at, I think, 3.5, 3.6 inches. So a very nice size length blade, especially for what I look for in a knife. And it just carries very well. Obviously not a deep carry clip, but it carries deep enough to where it's not really a problem for me, so I don't know why it would be a huge problem for anyone else. I totally understand the desire for deep carry clips. I do prefer... Nice D10. I do prefer deep carry clips myself, but sometimes I can overlook that when the rest of the offering, the rest of the package of a knife is that nice of a knife. And that's what we have here with the Kubey KB046. These letters and numbers kind of throw me for a loop sometimes because I'm looking down at my list where I have all the prices referenced, and it's just like trying to sort through the scattered alphabet. But no, nonetheless, for $59.99, I would definitely buy this knife again, and I would recommend it to anyone as well. This would be a great knife if you want a slightly nicer Kubey than the $38.99 G10D2 versions. This is a very good option, the KB046. Next up, we have one that came out of nowhere for me, and that's the Bestech Platypus. And I don't know why, but I really, really like this knife. I like the design. It almost kind of reminds me of an electric guitar for some reason. It just has kind of just the lines, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but I kind of think of an electric guitar when I see this. Don't know, but I do know this. It has a pretty nice slicey blade with a very strong, stout tip, and a nice sheep's foot blade is going to make it a really powerful cutter, and ergos that can match that. You can choke up a little for some finer detail work, but most of the time you're going to want to keep your hand back here because you can catch your finger on that if you're not careful. So I wouldn't recommend this for any hard use work, kind of maybe just the fine little getting in there with stuff. But right back here, the ergos are great. It really allows you to just really come through with your cuts if you're cutting any thicker, heavier material. And the handles on this are just super, super nice. It fits in my hand like a glove. The only thing that's somewhat of a drawback on this knife is the pocket clip. It is a nice deep carry clip with a nice ramp, but you do feel it. You do feel it, and it could be a hot spot for some people. I don't think I really noticed that quite as much in my original review of this, but it did stick out over time, especially the ramp. Not even so much back here, but just the ramp up here. It's nice and round. It's not stabby or pointy, but it could definitely cause a hot spot. At the same time, though, this knife with this action, I literally compared this action to a ZT, the ZT0452 CF, I believe. The flipper tab reminds me of it. The overall force of the blade coming out reminds me of it, and it's pretty buttery smooth on the close too. So just a very, very nice piece from Bestech. One of the best offerings I've ever had from Bestech, and there's only one other one that I would put ahead of this, actually. That being the Bestech Texel. and not by a whole lot, but I would give it to the Texel. But this is a great piece. For $52, it's worth every penny. And if you want something a little different with super, super smooth, fun, fidgety action, this would be a great one for you. You can flip it out with your index finger and probably your middle finger too. Yeah, there you go. You have to get used to it because it's a little tight corners up there to get into that hole. But other than that, great action, great design, great price. The Bestech Platypus. Highly recommend that to anyone. Really surprised how much I like this knife, and I just like it even more the longer I have it. So there you go for that one there. And next up, we're going to go with another one that I don't think a lot of people are still very familiar with. This is the Real Steel Akuma. And it has a rather unique look to it as far as designs, but it's a really nice knife. Super slicey, full flat grind, nice simple drop point blade with a very unique cutout there in the front, which gives it a very fidgety factor to where you can flip it out. It's a little hard to do under the camera because this is a bigger knife. I want to say this blade is 3.75 inches. And to do the actual flip here, you got to... I hit the table. There you go. It's a lot easier when you're not under a camera. But it's got the middle finger flick or the index flick, as well as the regular flipper. And then it also has a very nice thumb stud deployment. So a very fidgety knife. And I like the handle on this. It's simple. It feels really well. No hot spot from the very unique looking pocket clip that I also like a whole lot. That is true deep carry, goes all the way down. This knife will disappear in the pocket, and you really won't see much other than just this the little bit of flash from the satin pocket clip. But I still like the appearance of it. It's a very unique looking pocket clip, which you don't see a lot anymore on knives under $100. You see Civivis and CGRBs, they all have the same pocket clip. I think that pretty much goes the same for Bestech for the most part. But it's just really nice to see a different, unique pocket clip that goes up that goes over the hem of the pocket just fine and sits extremely deep. And then you also have flat heads to open the knife up with and do any type of servicing to the knife. Not my favorite way to open a knife. I would much rather just have the Torx, but I also like the looks of the flathead, and it's not that bad. This one's pretty easy to do. These two can take a little bit more of a specialty type screwdriver because you want a little more of a thick flathead, but you don't want the width. So you kind of have to find one that works, but once you do, it's not that hard to find one. I mean, they're out there. They're pretty easy. You just have to go to a hardware store or something. You may even have one in the house. But regardless, I really like the design of the knife. I thought it was a little weird looking at first, but it just fills my hand very well. Gives you a lot of good blade to work with. Of K110 steel, which is basically the Bowler equivalent to D2. And this is an Yvon de Braganet's design, which is one of my probably more favorite designers. I like his work. Like his maker's mark, but overall, just a very good piece. Nice and smooth, very fidgety, gives a nice little tink sound, and pretty much in every aspect of the word fidget is this knife. Very nice little piece. Price is coming in at $77 on this Real Steel Akuma, and I don't think it's too out of line. I think it should be with D2. I have an issue paying $77 for D2. I'm going to say that. But the overall design, action, and functionality, versatility of the knife, I think is really good. So for $77, while I do think it's a little high, I would most likely buy this knife again just because I really like the design and fidgetability of it. And it's just a nice, unique piece. You don't see a lot like it. So I kind of appreciate that as well. So that's the Real Steel Akuma coming in at $77. And next up, now this is the Kizer Dukes. And I got turned on to this by the viewers. They said, you got to try the Kizer Dukes. You're going to love it. You like all these other Kizers. And I didn't think I would, but man, I really, really do. I really, really do. It's one of my favorite all-time EDC knives, and it got up there pretty quickly. It's just, the action is absolutely killer. It flies right out, and the viewers have been telling me it gets smoother as you close it, and I notice it a little. Yeah, but it's still not quite there. On the close, it's not drop-shitty smooth like people say it's going to get to. I look forward to that day when it gets here, but until then, I will just appreciate it for what it is. A very nice, simple knife with a beautiful drop point and a swedge on top, with a nice pocket clip that I think fits the knife pretty well. And I like the red and black G10 handles. And for an overall price of, where'd it go? $58.98, that's not too bad at all. I think that's a very fair price for this knife. I would recommend this all day to anyone, especially if you like Kizer. I'm going to definitely side with the viewers and say you have to try this knife. If you like Kizer, that is the Kizer Dukes, and it is a good one. Just listen to it. Super, super nice. Blade flies out, great action. Kizer Dukes, pick one up. Next up, we have the Civivi Ortis, and this is easily one of my favorite Civivis of all time. This came out shortly after I did a video on my top 10 Civivis, and it's kind of unfortunate because this definitely would have been on that list as well. This is kind of the blinged out version. This version here is coming in at $89.25, but you can get the regular versions of FRN and I believe 9CR, I think it's 9CR 18 MOV, for $39.95. So for all intents and purposes, we're going to say you can get this knife for $39.95, just not this exact knife, the plain Jane version of it. But I really like this version because this is real carbon fiber. It's not the it's not the laminated G10 stuff. Super nice knife, nice and light, beautiful blade shape. Really like the black hand rubbed Damascus. And for $89.25, I think Civivi has given you a really, really good overall package. Nice deep carry clip that's pretty much fully recessed. It's I guess the actual base of the clip is sticking up just a little, but it's really not that bad at all. I would consider it true deep carry. It has a different type of slope down on the clip that gives you a little more room for the hem to come up if you have thicker, wider hems. Plenty enough ramp, and it just feels really, really good in hand. I think I mentioned on another video, I don't think this video, yeah, on another video, I'm going to be selling off some of my other budget knives, and I'm going to be kind of compacting the amounts of Civivis and CJRBs and other popular budget knives I have, and kind of have just my top 5 from each brand. I think is a good way to keep the clutter down, because I don't need that many knives. But this will definitely stay in that list because I definitely think it's one of the best offerings Civivi has ever come out with. Specifically in this package, though, I'm not a big fan of the FRN and 9CR version. I think it looks a little plain, a little boring to me. But this one is just a super awesome piece, and it's still under $100 at $89.25. So I would recommend this. Super, super slicey. Just a great overall package. That's the Civivi Ortis. Next up, we got 2 more for you, and we're going to go to a slip joint here. We are going to take a look at the Artisan Cutlery Biome. Now, this is a Dylan Mallory design, and it was, for all intents and purposes, it's the first dedicated slip joint I've ever had, because it don't lock, it don't do anything. It's just a plain Jane slip joint that I think is a very unique design, and I just really like the blade and the handle. I think the lines on it go very well, and it just looks good. It's a great little secondary knife, and for a total price of $29.95, I don't have many issues with it whatsoever. Super, super light. It disappears in the pocket. You put this thing in your pocket. I usually don't like things freely flinging around in my pocket. I don't mind this whatsoever because it is, again, super light. Pretty decent walk and talk for $29.95 too, but just it disappears in the pocket. There's really nothing else to say, and it just looks good. There you have your Dylan Mallory design of 12C27N steel, and I just like it. I really do like it. I didn't think I'd ever really like a slip joint enough to carry it, but I actually carry this a lot more than I ever think because it's just a great thing to hide in your pocket. And no one will ever know you have it, and it can come in very, very handy. So if you like slip joints, or if you're not sure about slip joints and you want to get a cheap one to try out, not cheap in quality, but cheap in price, $29.95 for this guy is not bad at all. I would definitely recommend it. And I think it's a great beginner slip joint for anyone that wants to get into the realm of slip joints. So that's the Artisan Cutlery Biome. And last, but certainly not least, one of my favorite all-time EDC knives of all time, the Kizer Gemini, a Ray Laconico design with some brown micarta, a nice carry clip, not deep carry, but it's kind of it's very synonymous with a Ray Laconico design. I don't think I've ever seen a deep carry clip on a Ray Laconico knife, so no real issue there. It goes in the pocket just fine. You know, there's going to be some of the knife sticking up, so you got to be okay with that. But what I really like is the action on this guy. It is so, for such a thin, slicey blade, it just flies out, and it absolutely falls right shut. And it's just a nice, sleek package. Carries extremely well because it's so slim. You don't notice it really at all. And it's got very nice steel, that steel being N690, Bowler N690, and just a simple, very useful drop point blade. You get the most out of the blade. It comes all the way down to the base of the handle, and the full flat grind makes it super slicey. Just a very, very nice package overall. This would definitely be on my list of all-time best knives under $100, and I think I may have to update that list. I don't think I had this at the time that I made that list. I gotta go back and check my records on that one, but this is a very nice one for $75. $75 for N690, a very slicey blade, brown, nice micarta, not the best micarta, but nice enough micarta. This is also patining very well too. It's almost having like a leathery finish on some parts of it from carrying it so much. So I do like that a lot. And again, $75, you're getting good quality, great action, really great everything, killer design. I'd recommend this one all day. One of my all-time favorites. That's the Kizer Gemini, coming in at $75. And that's it. That's all I got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed these long-term reviews. Let me know which ones you like best in this video. Which one would you pick? If you could pick one out of this group, which one would you take? I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.